Y'all need to grow up. You guys desperately need to grow up. What do y'all mean? Dondi started. Dondi, shut up. 2 years from now, you guys are gonna be like, oh, Farmer wants a wife started, guys. We can't stream right now. Shut up. You're so annoying. Let me get GoV on 1 second. Yo, it's getting bad for me. It's getting bad. I'm ill again. I don't understand. And I know you guys are gonna have all these fucking reasons how to get healthy. I'm getting unlucky. This is a bit absurd. I guess I never got better, but it sure as hell felt like I was getting better. So this is lame. Would a doctor help? Wait, you're telling me to trust the science? Okay, government. So from now on, all of my subs that I receive are going to be paying for law school because FAFSA's gone. What the fuck? I'm like, y'all, this is like a TikTok thing, right? This is gonna come right back next day. That's the vibe. Cause I'm really starting to regret my vote for Trump at this point. It's like, who could have seen this coming? You ever record the podcast yet? No. We'll do it after. But it'll be up tonight. Wintertime illnesses just happen, not your fault. I think it's a lot of travel. Just it was LA, then New York, and just a lot of airports, and it's just not good. My hair looks like a fucking mess. Holy shit. You might need to sacrifice a body part again. Dee Dee, you're a freak. You're the only one in chat thinking about my penis right now. How good is Severance, though? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. In New York, you're around people everywhere, and you can't avoid that. I agree. Thank you. Thanks, some subs. Mike for the 14. Brianna for the 14. Anita Butita for the 11. And then Kristen for the 14. We got some 14-month subs now? That's crazy. You make any babies with America yet? Is there something that's happened recently where there's a lot of like new Showman's Big Brother fans? I feel like we did a live with America and there was a lot of people being like, would you ever play Big Brother again? Are you guys still together? I feel like it's been a while since we had this wave of people. Did you see the quote about why funding is being cut, talking about transgenderism and shit? So many of these hateful people, I would just like to talk to them in person. I feel like they'd fold immediately. Like all the hateful shit they say, I don't think they might actually think it, but they wouldn't act on it in real life, or even like back up their thoughts with words. People are so conflict averse. What's up, Mom? How are you doing? The Casey Nani breakup brought people out. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Was Jared in the Big Brother house always talking about Nani? Was that a thing? I feel like I remember that. I don't know if it was Jared having a big crush on Nani or something like that. Nah, I am with America. She's at the gym right now, I think. Or shopping, one of the two. Yeah, she's still there. And she's in chat, apparently. Look at that. Sounds like something he would say. I remember him talking about Nani a lot. I don't know the context, really. But I remember something there. Oh, God. What is happening here? Mom, Dad, and America in chat? Do you just want to get on, like, a Skype call? Like, what are we doing here? Oh, Dad, congratulations. I called my dad recently, and I was like, Dad, you need to help me fill out the FAFSA, because you know all that stuff, and parental income and shit like that. And he was, like, dreading it. He's like, I don't want to do it. He actually might have had a hand in canceling FAFSA, just because he didn't want to help figure it out. So, congrats to him. The good thing is, like, yeah, there's so many ways to make that amount of money as an influencer. I could just take, like, 2 HelloFresh deals, and all of a sudden, that's a semester. So, personally, I'm not concerned about it. We'll just breeze through it, you know? Where I've seen America in chat, I haven't, but I do hear her in the other room, which implies she could either hear me through the door or she has the stream open. One of the two. America, the country, voted for less money in their pocket and more expensive eggs, but a really strong, bloated military. Whereas with Kamala Harris, we just would have had the strongest bloated military in the world's history. So, phew. Here's the thing with Trump, though. There's going to be way less transgender swimmers in high school swim meets. And isn't that what makes us happier day to day? If you just one big brother you'd have law school paid for, we're going to talk about that today. Do you think Kamala is left or center? I mean, it's okay. This is a debate people always talk about that kind of annoys me, where it's like Elizabeth Warren is actually like center because the entire American political spectrum is way off to the right. And I get that, but like I always judge things relative to how things actually are. Like in the US, like I'm doing center is like center, not like a political philosophy center. Because I do agree, like most moderate Democrats are right of center if you're talking about democratic philosophy. But I think Kamala Harris, unimpeded by, when she's not running for president, is slightly left of center, but she's basically at the center. Same with Biden. She's further left than Biden, even if her like campaign was more to the right. But they're both just like DNC reps. I guess this frustrates me when people talk about Bernie Sanders and be like, he's actually like at the center. It's like, okay, not really though. Like when you consider the actual landscape of politics at this point, like Bernie Sanders is pretty far left. There's always like anarchists, which, okay, in that case, Bernie Sanders is like a conservative compared to them, but Democrats nominate a progressive challenge impossible. I'm glad they didn't this election. Like, obviously, I wish they did, but they would have lost, and I think they would have taken the wrong message from that. But it's not like they're going to learn from this election and then put up, like, AOC. Like, they're just going to nominate probably Gavin Newsom next. Choo-choo, yeah, the hype train. Love it. And I will say, like, as much as I kind of hated the Biden administration because they were just super tentative to do anything real, I think the first half of the Biden administration I really liked. Like, they were being very good with social programs, and foreign policy was rougher, and obviously they were terrible with immigration. They were just, like, basically doing what Trump's doing. Well, actually, they were doing what Trump did in 2016 to 2020. Now Trump is taking it to a new level where, like, Biden actually would be a lot better than Trump. But it's not like Biden was creating safe havens for immigrants. That was not happening. But he was doing well social policy for a while, and then it just kind of all fell apart. And you can kind of tell, like, the whole talking point of Joe Biden's deteriorating mental state, it was kind of true. Like, I'd still rather have, like, a incapacitated Joe Biden in office than any Republican, but he was clearly losing it. And it's like, well, he was 80. And Trump's 82, but he's definitely a younger 80 than Biden. So it's like, I think that's a very easy thing to point to of like, they were right about that. Is America doing a podcast for The Bachelor? Not this season. Not this season. She might bring it back at some point. What's America's thoughts on the Gulf of Mexico being renamed the Gulf of America? It's a nice homage to one of the most robbed players in Big Brother history. I'm doing a top 10 list, but America's number 11. Yeah, Shelby's right. Shelby's actually completely right. Everyone's like doom and gloom about Trump when we could just be celebrating the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart 9. All things considered, things aren't that bad. This is pretty good, actually, when you think about it. Maybe even getting Cam Sullivan Brown back on our TVs. There's a lot to be happy about. I want to be able to watch Bachelor without taking notes. Yeah. Did I take medicine? I did not. I don't want you to make a big thing about it, though. I should. Yeah. The people yearn for another Mario Kart stream. America and I have some funny stuff with the Patreon cooking up about that. But I'm not going to guarantee anything because you guys know it'll never happen. But it will. So. Watching Cam sit down during comp and take a break. Woohoo, so excited. I love it. I think after Big Brother 25, with like the jag of it all, we needed a palate cleanser in Cam, who just didn't take comps that seriously. It was more chill. That was good. Look, I think I prefer that to Cam winning 10 comps, you know? Complains about being sick but takes no medicine. A lot of big pharma heads in the chat. This is a little bit weird, huh? So America earlier today was like, I'm going to go grocery shopping and I'm going to go to the gym.
I haven't done either.
What do you got for me?
I have this. There's only one. Just take it. This.
But this is just for congestion, right?
Yeah, you're fine. And then this. Take all of it. Just whatever's left.
Okay.
And then have a ton of these.
Thank you.
No, it pisses me off, y'all. Can they hear me?
No.
How you will, like, literally, like, refuse medicine when it's like, hello? Like, it makes you feel better. Why are you torturing yourself? Like, medicine works.
Do you want me to unmute the microphone?
Actually,
no, you've been
so annoying.
I watched a clip on Twitter today of Cameron saying that America was momming me, which she's not. But in moments like this, it makes you think. So Bowie Jane, when she came to Nashville, got me hooked on Sudafed. It's like medicine that works. I'm like, oh my God. When I'm congested. Fuck Cameron. I'm half expecting him, when we see him on the cruise, to be bald. That's just my prediction. I don't have any reason to predict that, but that's my prediction. Not straight from the bottle. There's like not enough left is the reason it's straight from the bottle. Brittany Haynes' Patreon Traders recap. I have not been watching it, but I'm sure it's very funny. The shit people could say behind a paywall, it's really good. Do you guys want to chat for another 5 minutes or just go into the presentation? Who's in the background? It's John Locke. He's my friend. Get into it? All right. Shit. You guys said we got to watch Dondi. Thoughts on The Bachelor? It's a bad show. It's like a bad show. It sucks that people keep watching it because they have no reason to improve the show. But right now it's just bad. Can we ask what the formula is to call someone robbed? Tom, have you ever listened to one of my ranking streams? You think it's not going to start with an entire spiel about the way in which I'm measuring robbedness? Let's be fucking real. Let me pull up my chat on my phone so I could respond to you guys because I got some notes up. All right. We'll do. Yeah, it feels like a bit big, but anyways, top 10 most robbed players in BB history. Okay. Just U.S. It's always U.S. I don't want to alienate too many viewers. But I do want to alienate all the Canadians. So, the way that I am making this list, how do I determine if someone's robbed? Well, you are not robbed if you got close to winning the game. That by itself does not make you robbed. Vanessa Russo in no way was robbed. She got to the final 3. Steve cut her. She lost. Is she a robbed goddess? Sure. She does not qualify for this list. What qualifies you for this list is if your Big Brother game was massively hurt or ended by something completely out of your control. That's how you make this list. Obviously, there's greater weight to stuff that happens closer to the win. So if you're at the final 3 and you get screwed, that matters to me a lot more than if you're at the final 14 and you get screwed. Even if you get screwed at the final 14, or even if you didn't get screwed, what are the odds you would convert that into a win? It just kind of means less, right? that automatically makes Frenchie number 1. Okay. Now, here's a couple other things that are not on this list. There are so many people in Big Brother history who are victims of the nature of Big Brother in the past 20 years. What I mean is, black people, minorities in general on Big Brother had a much more difficult road to the finals and to winning. That's the case. Big Brother 15 is obviously the biggest example of, like, is there any possibility where Howard wins that season? Candace wins that season? No. That, based on the cast, it was over. But this list would basically just be all people in that category, because there's so many people from season 1 to season 26 who were robbed in that way. So we're not talking about that. That's a different conversation. Another thing I'm not bringing up is, like, was everyone in BB23 screwed that the cookout was just better than them? It's like, I guess, but, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, Christian was robbed, Alyssa Lopez was robbed. Like, that feels weird. Like, it's fine. It was a dominant alliance that won. So it's usually stuff having to do with the mechanisms, stuff having to do with twists, formats, stuff like that. Outside of them comping out to Final 2, that would have been a crazy scene, Mountain Doofus. I think when people talk about BB15, it's always like, oh my god, there were so many racist people like Aaron. It's a combo of two things. It's the amount of racist people and how good the racist people were at comps. Especially Aaron. Aaron was beasting out comps. And it was like, there's no way to hide her in the edit. There's no way to like, she's just there. So this takes us to actually, I have some honorable mentions, perhaps. I'm going to sneeze first. Fuck, I couldn't find the mute button. Sorry. I was not set up for the mute button there. That's on me. I had the desktop audio mute and the charity mute, not the audio input mute. Okay, first up, let's talk about these ones. Let's talk about these guys, because these are kind of in their own category, right? And you could put other people on this list. You could put Paul on this list. You could put whoever. I don't consider these people super robbed. I think they all have kind of different stories. The Danielle Reyes thing of, like, the jury's not being sequestered, that was common knowledge before the season started. She obviously screwed up a lot in the end game as well. Could she have beaten Amy? Probably, maybe. Probably couldn't beat Jason. Definitely couldn't beat Lisa. But obviously, she was screwed in the sense of, like, she played the best game and lost. Dan in BB14, I think Dan and Tyler were probably more robbed because there was clearly, like, a jury packed against them. You could argue both of them did things to make the jury against them, especially in, Tyler's case. I think Dan, by virtue of being a returning player, was fighting an uphill battle, but also he had a lot of advantages as a result of being a returning player. So I don't really consider Dan super robbed. I think it was just a very impressive game that ended in second place. Tyler, I think his main issue was his game was more impressive than the viewers thought it was, or the jurors thought it was. I think if the jurors knew the full scope of Tyler's game, he would have won. And because of the way the Final 2 format works, he wasn't able to explain it. So all three of these people, I think, are the most robbed people who made it to the Final 2. I don't really think any of them are super robbed. I think people overstate how bad Dan and Tyler's jury management was, but there's reasons they lost. So not in the top 10, but I think they're kind of like who people would be like, they are probably on the list. So I wanted to just talk about them, mention them. Danielle wasn't super robbed. I agree, but, I thought it'd be fair to put her on this list. So let's go on to number 10. Any predictions before we just dive in? Anyone want to send a flyer out there? Anyone's got a vibe of who I'm going to say? Number 10. It's kind of a shot in the dark. There's a lot of people who you guys think are on the list. I see Frankie and Rockstar and Ronnie and Paul and Shelly and Matt Klotz. Yeah. Matt Klotz, again, also number 11. Just missed the list. So at number 10, I have Frankie Grande. So, let's talk about Frankie. So we're in the final 5. The final 7, we evict Nicole. It's a double eviction. Christine gets evicted. And then Julie announces this twist. The Big Brother Rewind, which is one of the weirdest twists in Big Brother history. Basically, it's a button in that room that everyone's got to decide to press. I forget exactly the details if one person had to press or everyone had to press it. I think ultimately they all did press it, but I think if just one person wanted to, it would have been pressed, right? So they pressed the reset button. Now, they don't know what the fuck that does. All that happened is a clock started ticking down, and the clock would end at the eviction time, but who knows exactly what it is. If I heard it was a rewind button, I would certainly think it was going to be what the twist ended up being. It was just one. Okay. So it's not like Frankie's fault for, pushing the button. Like, someone was going to fucking push it. So, regardless, they hit the button, the clock starts. They're like, all right, time to just play Big Brother, I guess. And they do the seed saw competition, which is the zombie week, Resurrection Rumble, the balance the balls in the shovel and, don't let the thing fall. Frankie wins it. Ooh, shit. Frankie's in the Final Four. Final Four, you're only 2 competitions away from winning the season. He can't play HOH, but he can play in the veto. Thanks, Anonymous, for gifting Andrew. So he's in the Final Four. And this is why I don't actually think Frankie's like one of the most robbed people in Big Brother history. His noms are terrible. He puts up Cody and Victoria, which, again, I think it's the right instinct to not nominate Caleb. Caleb was supposed to be his guy. But nominating Cody and Victoria is insane. Then he wins the veto, obviously giving him the opportunity to put up a Derek, maybe even a Caleb if he just wants to try to maximize his comp odds. And he keeps noms the same, which obviously leads Derek and Caleb as the voters. They would have voted out Victoria. Granted, Frankie still would have been in the Final Four, and he would have had a 1-in-4 shot at the veto, and he was probably one of the best competitors at that point. Probably him and Cody were right there. Caleb was still good. Derek was solid. So, he had a decent shot of winning that veto and then winning the game. If Frankie's in the Final 2, I think he does win. Granted, he probably wants to go to the Final 2 with Derek, so that's a problem. But, of course, all of these possibilities are nullified by the reset button because when eviction time comes, we rewind and we play the same HOH comp again. We're back to Seedsaw. This time, Caleb wins, which, again, why I don't think Frankie was that robbed, should have been good for Frankie. This should have been fine. First of all, he got to play in the same HOH comp he already won. So that's like, all right, he should have a good shot of winning it. He doesn't. Caleb wins. That should be good for Frankie. And still, Caleb targets Frankie, puts up Frankie and Victoria. Then he gets to play in the same veto, loses that to Cody, and of course is evicted. So basically the deal with Frankie is he was robbed because he won the Final 5 HOH and was evicted in the Final 5. That's bullshit. The reason why he's not more robbed than the next 9 players is because he fucked up his Final 5 HOH anyways and gave himself a 25% chance of getting to the Final 3. Maybe you could put it up to 30% if you think he's better at comps than some of these people. But he was competing against dogs, basically. They were all good. But because he was so close to the end and he did have serious win equity in the Final 2, I think Frankie was robbed, just not as much as some of these other people. That makes sense? Any questions on Frankie? I was just saying, like, Frankie's obviously, like, a good player, and maybe some of these decisions were influenced by the rewind button being there, but I just don't really get the logic. Maybe he's like, oh, I have to pretend to be loyal to Derek and them because if it's going to reverse, Was he able to play in the Final 4? He was able to play in the Final 5 HOH. Yeah, he was able to play in it, but he lost. Mike's cracking. Okay. Where is it? Is it fine? Am I too quiet? What do you guys think? if he stayed, I think he would have been able to play in the Final Four HOH if, yeah, he survived Caleb's HOH for sure, which could have been even better for him. America's player was part of his decisions. Yeah, but like Team America was not like a binding contract for Frankie. Like that was on him. Why'd the rewind button need to exist again? Just scheduling. They had an extra week. Which is crazy because they also had a battle back. It's like, damn. Just cast a 17th person, you know? All right, number 9, we have Natalie Nagrati, which it says BB20, but BB18. Natalie. Anybody know why Natalie was robbed? Anyone remember this? Because I did some research and I was like, this is kind of bullshit to me. So let's talk about it. After I cough. Okay. So let's recalibrate your brain, all right? Thank you, Sydney, for the sub. Because she had to play with James. Yeah, that's one part of it. She wins HOH in week 9, which is the final 7 HOH. Huge HOH to win. Now, immediately, her HOH is kind of co-opted. Just a reminder, the people in the house at this point, there's 3 duos. There's Natalie and James, there's Cory and Nicole, there's Paul and Victor, and then there's Michelle. Big Meech. So she wins HOH at the final 7, pivotal spot. And then America's Care Package comes down. Uh-oh. America's Care Package. There's a weird twist. America voted on someone, and then they got some power or money or something. One of the powers, like Cory got to bribe somebody. $5,000 to do something, which was just basically giving Victor $5,000. But anyways, Michelle wins America's Care Package. Okay. That's actually really good for Natalie, because Natalie was positioned extremely well in this final 7, where it was her and James, and she had Michelle, more loyal to her and James than anyone else. Obviously, Michelle and Nicole didn't like each other. Michelle and Paul didn't like each other. So going into the final 6, Michelle and Natalie are sharing an HOH. Each of them get one nominee, and then Natalie would get to name the replacement nom. So she gets unlucky with a twist, but it works out because the right person gets it. So, with her HOH, she nominates Paul and Victor. Huge swing. Definitely the right noms. I mean, at the final 7, you got to nominate these two. They are way too big comp beasts. They're threatening. So, she puts them up. Okay. I think she's the one who nominates Victor. Michelle puts up Paul. It doesn't really matter. Paul wins the veto, takes himself off the block, or takes themselves off the block, rather, and Victor gets evicted. Okay. So let's just back up here. We are now in the final 6. Final 6 with the trio, Natalie, James, and Big Meech, versus Paul, Cory, Nicole. So that's pretty good. It's not like Paul and Cory and Nicole are super close. You got a trio going into the final 6. And Michelle is the shield. Nicole has to get rid of Michelle first. That's always been the plan. Unfortunately, for the second time that season, Victor returns to the game for the second time, immediately after Natalie evicted him. Nicole wins HOH. Uh-oh. Knowing that Victor and Paul are obviously against, Natalie and James, because, I don't know, Natalie just won and put up Paul and Victor. Nicole targets Natalie and James. Or actually, more aptly, Natalie and Michelle. And Michelle gets evicted. Okay, the plan still kind of worked out. You had your shield got evicted before you. Then Victor wins HOH again. And that's where James and Natalie go on the block. So, I'm not trying to make the case that Natalie's some amazing player, but she was entering the final 6 with a strong 3. She might have the most win equity of James and Michelle. Instead, she re-enters the final 7 with a 3. She can't play HOH. This is a classic case of I win HOH, get my target out, my target comes back, and I can't play an HOH. That's bullshit. And then her side gets picked off before ultimately she's evicted by the person she had evicted on her HOH. Yeah, I already said that, Katie. Stop. Nicole picking up Paul and Victor as a duo is just good gameplay, though. Like, James and Natalie should have the upper hand in that final 6. Yeah, but you can't have the upper hand in that final 6, Alps, if you've already evicted one of them. Like, I think, honestly, if it was the final 6 and, Victor won HOH and it was just a level playing field, I think there's a good chance that Natalie would have been able to win over Victor. A good chance. But because Natalie had to previously nominate Paul and Victor, she had no chance. None. And it's not like she should have done something else at the final 7. You're saying she should have nominated Nicole and Cory, leaving Paul and Victor in the game going into the final 6? That's insane. Unless you were confident there was going to be a physical battle back, because the battle back, by the way, was a fucking wall comp. I think the point, in your review, and obviously you probably have a better handle on the details, is what was the best possibility of any of this for Natalie? Her entering the final 6 was in a good position regardless of her messiness, but because of Victor winning the battle back, it was almost like game over. Like, she went from a winning position, albeit a lot of people get into winning positions by playing very poorly, into essentially having no shot with those, set of returning house guests, or set of remaining house guests, rather. That's the argument. That's my take. I think it's fair. And I understand my credibility is not helped by the fact that it says BB20 next to her name, but I'll stand by it. Generally, I think when you evict somebody and they come back and evict you, it's kind of bullshit. And maybe I'm biased. Perhaps. That's how I feel about it. And I'm a big Nicole guy. I think Nicole in BB18 was great. I don't blame her, for all this happening. But I do think Natalie, at the very least, places higher than 6th without this shit. James probably beats her in the final 2. Maybe. I think it's possible, but there's a lot of game to be played at that point. All right. Any guesses for number 8? Because if you guys didn't like my number 9, you're going to hate my number 8. She's not even a top 3 player of the season. That doesn't have anything to do with my list. JJ thinks Becky. Okay. Jesse, Jace, Jesse, Helen, Rockstar. Okay. Well, no one's going to guess number 8, because number 8 is basically just an opportunity for me to get on my soapbox. I have Big Brother 25, and I crossed off Jared and Luke, and Izzy. You could not cross off Izzy if you want. So, here's the point I'm going to make here, and I don't want to be clipped and put on Twitter, so I think each and every player on Big Brother 25 was screwed by a twist. Except for, obviously, Suri and Jared. Izzy latching on to Suri and Jared kind of made the twist just worse for everybody. But, still, Izzy's win equity, you could argue, went down when she walks in and sees Suri there. But I tend to believe Izzy was helped by having Suri and Jared there. So just a quick run through of these players. Kirsten would not have been evicted week 1 if there wasn't a week 1 bullshit nether region twist. She just wouldn't have been. So Kirsten, obviously robbed by a twist. Also, she was a big victim of the Suri and Jared thing as well. Heisem was targeting Jared and told Suri a lot. Which maybe it's like a read the room thing, but it was week fucking 2. It's kind of a hard thing to do. Riley, of course, creates family style with Jared, who rats it out to Suri. Oh, there goes her entire game. Jag, similar problems with family style as Riley. Of course, then he benefits from a twist, coming back, which that dooms my game, Blue's game, America's game. That dooms everyone in the second half's game, so everyone is is pained by that. There's also Zombie Week, which brings back Cameron, which is probably the only person who would have nominated and evicted Mimi at the final 10. Then there's me at the final 8, who was just safe for the week, except for the fact there's a second veto that's a crapshoot that Blue wins. So there's a lot of layers as to how different people were screwed this season. Of course, there's Jag winning the Invisible HOH, which of course was a physical competition, and then being able to play in the following competition, which was another physical competition. And he wins, and maybe you could say that's where Blue was robbed. Blue went out on Jag's second HOH. Did Kirsten really get screwed by this? I don't think Kirsten would have done well, but she would have survived week 1. Luke would have been evicted. The only players you could argue didn't get super screwed were like, I don't know, like Bowie and Matt. But even they had to contend with Suri and Jared. Luke would have been evicted. I feel very confident Luke would have been evicted. Just being in there. No one liked Luke. I'm saying if there were initial nominations. Like, if Riley had to nominate people just off the jump, she would have nominated Kirsten and Luke, and people would have voted out Luke. I think that's what would have happened. Would they have backdoored Luke by taking Felicia off the block? I don't think they would have gone that hard. But if she was able to just make normal noms at the start. So again, like, the Suri and Jared thing completely sunk Riley and Red. And the reason why BB25 or, like, any of these players in specific aren't, higher up on the list is because everyone made a ton of mistakes. Kirsten played very poorly. Red played poorly. Mimi played poorly. And honestly, when people are like, oh my god, Mimi was robbed by Cameron winning after coming back, it's like Matt and Jag were second and third, and I think there's a good chance both of them target Mimi. Maybe Matt targets me, but like, she's in danger there anyways. I actually don't think there's much of a path, even without Cameron. I obviously made a billion mistakes. Cameron's a terrible player. Like, everyone screwed up. So it's not like, everyone just was ruined by twists, but there was enough twists where I was like, I think it's worth mentioning. Any counter arguments against BB25? It's bullshit Meridian reviews here. I'm just giving my cute little presentation, then we got a historian in chat. How dare you? Honestly, if you ask me who was most robbed from BB25, I think it would probably be some combination of myself, Kirsten, and honestly, maybe Blue. I think I had the most twists fuck me up, but like Blue going out there at the final 7 is kind of crazy. Like Blue was saved by a twist in the final 8, so like her getting screwed in the final 7 isn't that bad. But like it was a very direct twist that just led to her getting evicted. But Kirsten was probably the most directly, like, she just probably would have been safe if not for a twist. Anyways, any predictions on number 7? This is one of the only 2 gimmick answers. Yeah, no, I know, El. Blue was screwed by Jag being able to play twice. And she obviously made a ton of mistakes, but I see Helen, I see Jesse, I see Glenn, I see a lot of people. Well, at number 7, I have Howie. Is an interesting one. Okay, this is another one that I think we should talk about. Because this is similar to the Natalie Negrati point. Howie's a terrible player. Much worse than Natalie. Did he have any chance of winning Big Brother 7? Not really. But I think the extent to which he was screwed is kind of crazy. I think his circumstances of his eviction are so out there and not fair and bullshit. So, before you all disagree, let me explain. In Big Brother 7, of course, we watched it on the Patreon. Season 6 is dominating the early game. They're doing very well. Right? Season 6. Of course, a lot of bad HOH decisions. Kaser's fucking up. James is kind of fucking... James did okay getting rid of Jason. Janelle's fucking up. They're all getting rid of the wrong people, letting Chilltown gain power. But, despite all this, Howie finds himself in a decent position at the final 8. I believe it's the final 8. Decent position. Not a great position. Decent. He still has Janelle. He's close with George. Maybe there's something of a path there. Miraculously, at the final 8, it's a double eviction. It's a slow double eviction. It's season 7, remember. So it's like a 2-day eviction. Chicken George miraculously wins HOH. And Chicken George and Howie are tight. They're the Jedi duo. Howie's George's Jedi master. Like, they're close. This is a huge win for Howie. And George, targets James and Erica. James is the target, Erica's the pawn. Now, this is not ideal for Howie, but it's pretty good. You know, it's just getting rid of James, part of the Legion of Doom. Ultimately, Howie's game relies on Janelle being there, so he'll take it. Unfortunately, or fortunately for Howie, however you put it, James wins the veto. Now, there's a lot of debate as to who Chicken George should put up as a replacement nom, because very likely whoever the replacement nom is going to be the target, because Erica is the other nominee, and Erica's a pawn. Now, everyone's pushing Janelle on George. But Chicken George, has this weird thing where he just refuses to nominate Janelle because it would be, a dirty thing to do. It was very Bowie Jane and Cameron. He just didn't want to do it. He just didn't want to do it. Okay. Well, that's great for Howie. You know, Howie getting through this week with George, with Janelle, with James. This is huge for him. Puts him in a spot in the final 7 where, could Howie ever win? Probably not, but, he's doing well. Of course, Will volunteers to go on the block because it's Will. And this would have been great for Howie. If they're able to evict Will, absurdly amazing for his game. Even if he stays, because of the Legion of Doom, because he swings over Janelle, whatever the case may be, getting rid of Erica is huge for him. It's also a great move. It's not really his move, but it's good. It gets rid of one of these people who's going to sit on the block and survive next to him. My guess is Erica probably gets evicted. But in the lockdown before the veto meeting, Mike Boogie, who previously won the coup d'etat by, getting that little reap what you sow riddle, starts making a pitch. A pitch that, as far as I understand, based on the rules, I don't think he was allowed to make. And this is where maybe the Big Brother rulebook can come into play. Maybe Giesling traders will disagree with me. Boogie starts threatening Chicken George with the coup d'etat, saying, if you don't nominate someone like, I don't know, Howie, who knows what'll happen next week? Maybe you'll be in trouble. Who can say? Maybe someone will be nominated next week. He did not say he had the power. He said that whoever has the power could mess up your game, George. I hear you. I hear you. It seems like a bit of bullshit to me. And also, Boogie didn't even fucking have the power. You guys can help me with these details. Did Boogie already lose the power by that point because he told Will? He could be lying. Of course he could be lying, but you're not allowed to lie about powers on Big Brother. I read the manual, and I asked questions in my hotel room. Can I create a power? They say no. Can you lie about the rules of your power? No. Now, can you blankly threaten a power that everyone knows is out there? I suppose. He lost it by that point? Yeah, that seems even more bullshit, because now you're lying about a power you don't have. I think it's bullshit. I think Howie should have stayed this week. Then you got him, James, and Janelle playing in the next HOH. Maybe James targets Howie anyways. James is probably targeting Janelle first, Janelle and George, but maybe Howie can get caught in the fray there. Again, I don't think Howie wins the game, but I think this is one of the most egregious cases of this should not be allowed, and I think by the letter of the law, it's not allowed, and it still happened. It was on a lockdown, so we didn't see it on feeds. Yeah, I know that, but I assume in these lockdowns you were allowed to still talk game. Because they were talking hella game. Nowadays, you can't talk any game during lockdowns. I think Howie's case is an interesting one. Maybe he's rated too high because he didn't have much of a chance of winning. It was the final 8. I get that. But I do think, the thing Mike Boogie did was such bullshit. And, Howie leaving on George's HOH is insane. So, in this list of, robbed Big Brother players, I don't think people would expect Howie to be up there, but I think he is a fair person to mention. So, any pushback to Howie? I know there's a lot, but I like this one. It's just playing the system. Giesling, if someone does something that is adjacent to breaking the rules, I can still say it's breaking the rules, I'd be furious if I was evicted in this way. It just so happens it happened to Howie, so no one cares, Yeah, Howie is going on the cruise. I'll talk to him about this. And I'll talk to him about how you guys are not supporting me. Or him. I don't like Howie either. But I'm sure I will on the cruise. All right. Number 6, any predictions? None of y'all predicted Howie. I got your asses with that one. I bet 6 is David. I think everyone else on the list, y'all will get. I think everyone else on the list, y'all will get. Is my prediction. At number 6, I have Rockstar. Rockstar is actually a very simple case. It's Big Brother 20, and it's the final 10. Haley wins HOH. Haley is Rockstar's closest ally. This is big. Faute pulls out another HOH. And, unlike previous Faute HOHs, Haley doesn't screw up. Look, say what you will about Faute, say what you will about Fessy, say what you will about Scotty. Haley's a pretty good player. And she makes totally fucking reasonable nominations. Angela and Casey. One of the back doors being Tyler. Maybe a Brett. Like, this is great. We're chipping away at one of Level 6's strongest numbers, no matter what. Uh-oh. The hacker comp. Now, if you all remember how the hacker comp works, it's a competition that's played between HOH and Veto. And it's kind of a crazy fucking comp. If you win, you don't only get to name a nominee, you get to remove someone from the block. It's basically like a veto, which is crazy. I didn't fucking remember that. I thought it was just like you name a third nom. No. You remove someone from the block and name someone else. So, after Haley nails the nominations, Casey, of course, wins the hacker comp. Oh, shit. Casey's going to remove herself, naming Rockstar as her replacement. And unfortunately for Rockstar, Tyler then wins the veto, removes Angela from the block. So all of a sudden now, Tyler and Angela are safe. Haley makes a good decision, puts up Casey again. So now the noms have gone from Angela Casey to Angela Rockstar to Rockstar Casey. And Rockstar is evicted on Haley's HOH, despite Rockstar or Haley making no mistakes. At least as far as like the big picture strategy nominations go. Just a very clear example of without the hacker twist, Rockstar survives the final 10, 1 billion out of 1 billion tries. But because of the hacker twist, and because of how the twist works, because of who won the twist, because of who won the veto, there was no chance for Rockstar to survive. To be fair, Rockstar almost single-handedly handed Tyler the veto. Yeah, but like, you know, it happens. Sometimes you lose comps. It like I think her being robbed over here is not discredited by her being dumb in OTEV and telling Tyler the answer. Like she was robbed by the format and then she screwed herself up. So, you know, it is very Faute of her though. Faute won it the week before during Angela's HOH. Yeah, but it was less consequential because again, this is one of those powers that benefited the majority and Level 6 had the majority. So, like, they were able to renom Tyler, and then it's like, okay, well, now what? You know, so, like, the hacker twist is basically very bad for the Minority Alliance, which is Faute. I didn't like her, though. Hey, that's falling on deaf ears. I love Rockstar. Robbed God, Goddess. I'm not saying Rockstar's a robbed goddess, but I do think she was robbed. She was robbed of her final 9 spot. The shortened jury. Messed up. Shouldn't Brittany Haynes be on here from BB14 leaves because the double veto, otherwise Ian leaves? I understand that perspective, but also there's a lot of things that had to happen to get Brittany evicted, and I think Brittany had a shot to save herself that week. And she's a vet who had a lot of advantages coming in, so there's a lot that balances it out for me, but I would not be upset if you had her at one of the higher numbers. All right, number 5. Any suggestions? Any guesses? Yeah, like, was Brittany robbed? I don't think so. It was just... The cookout was winning. Like, I don't. I got Jesse. I think a lot of people overrate the impact of Jesse being robbed. Like, if the coup d'etat doesn't happen, does Jesse win the season? I don't believe so. But yeah, he was robbed. Context, I think most people know about this, but we'll just go through it quickly. Shima wins the final 9 HOH, nominates Lydia and Russell. Kind of dubious nominations by Shima putting up Lydia, but whatever. Shima's one of Jesse's closest allies. Jesse's in that position where he has a lot of kind of cult members around him. He has a lot of cult members. He's got a lot of people who are willing to die for him, Natalie and Shima and these people. And Shima wins HOH, so he's safe for the week. Into the final 8, he gets to play in HOH. You still got to deal with Jeff, which is a problem. So, he's by no means sailing to the final 2, but he's in a really reasonable spot to win the game. Kevin wins the veto, doesn't use it, so the noms are locked to Lydia and Russell. Russell should be getting evicted here. Unfortunately, the week before, and this is the main reason I think Jesse was robbed, America voted to give Jeff the coup d'etat. I'm imagining the joy of being able to walk into the DR and being given a coup d'etat. Am I wrong about that? I thought it was a vote. Was it a competition? He won it by a vote. Okay. Yeah. It was a vote. So that's bullshit. If it's a comp, like in Rockstar's case, Casey won the hacker. Bullshit. She won it. Here, like, come on. Jeff just got voted for. And then Jeff uses the coup d'etat, because I think it was expiring, is the reason he used it, to save Russell, puts up Jesse and Natalie, which is a death sentence. You can't be sitting next to Natalie on the block. It's not like a failure of Jesse's social game there. And Jesse was evicted, despite controlling most of the game up until that point. Now, I don't think Jesse was in a winning position. He was in a position where he could win, where he could make a deep run. He was also given the first HOH, so there was some stuff going for him that season, but this, really, he just got sniped out of the game due to no fault of his own. Due to America liking Jeff Schroeder. That's insurmountable. So it's unlucky for Jesse. Gets evicted here. First member of the jury. Sad end to one of the biggest characters in the show's history. All right, number 4. Number 4 is a bit of a controversial one. I don't know how you guys are going to think about how I made this decision, but I'm happy with it. Crazy James. Nah. If you came back in a battle back, I'm not going to say you were robbed. All right. I have the 3 of them. The 3 of them. Shelly, Portia, and Kalia. Now, we'll talk about what happened during the week and who was actually the most robbed. I think that answer is pretty clear. But this is, in my opinion, probably the most bullshit twist in Big Brother history, except for maybe number 1, which I think you guys know what it is. So, also, let me say this. If you wanted to put Big Brother 13 newbies as an entire category, if you just wanted to say, like, BB13 newbies were robbed, I'd accept that as well. The fact that all these BB13 vets just come in the house, there's 6 of them, they're all paired up. Danielle is safe until jury from night 1. And they're all paired up randomly. Like, that's bullshit. But let's talk about these 3. So we're at the final 6. Shelly just flipped and evicted Jeff. Crazy. And her reward? We'll see. Portia wins the final 6 HOH. Huge win. She had to beat Rachel. She had to beat Jordan. She did it. Wins final 6 HOH. Nominates Rachel and Jordan. Uh-oh, wait. Back it up. Before this, Portia has the option to open Pandora's box. Okay? Now, you could argue, Portia, you're in a good position. Don't open Pandora's box. And I'd understand that. Like, if I'm in Portia's position, I'm not opening that shit. But maybe I'm more impervious to production. Like, I'm sure production was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to open the fucking box? Wouldn't it be cool? Production was not letting her. Yeah, exactly. So she had to open Pandora's box. She could have said no, I suppose, but, she opens it. Two things happen. I need you guys' help for one of them. The duos twist returns. If you remember, the way the season was working previous is everyone in the house is put into pairs because, the returning dynamic duos of Rachel and Brendan, Jeff and Jordan, Dick and Danielle. Everyone's in pairs. You would nominate a pair for eviction, and then you'd vote out one member of that pair, and the other pair was safe for a while. So in the final six, what this means is Portia wins HOH, and she gets to pick someone to be in her pair. They're safe, basically. And she picks Kalia. Seems like a good pick. Of course, Rachel picks Jordan, and then you got Shelly and Adam. So, Portia makes the right call. She nominates Rachel and Jordan. Unfortunately, by Pandora's box, they also had the duo do-over comp. Someone remember what the actual Final Six comp was? I'm pretty sure it was something Rachel had already won, right? Was it the banana thing again? What was it? The hot dog? It was basically the first HOH again that Rachel had already won. An endurance veto. I know all about him. And of course, Rachel wins, saving herself and Jordan, which forces Shelly and Adam on the block. Underrated part of that twist also means Jordan and Rachel have the voting majority. In a final six, 2 people have the majority, which allows Rachel and Jordan to vote out Shelly. So, who was the most screwed? I think Shelly. Shelly was evicted on a week where she was safe otherwise. But I don't think she had as much win equity as Kalia or Portia, specifically Portia. So if you want to say Portia was the most robbed because, let's say they get rid of Jordan there or they get rid of Rachel there, then she's in the final 5. Probably get rid of the other one. She's in a winning position. But in one of the only cases where I'd say, this might be rigged. This looks a wee bit rigged to me. All 3 of these players, specifically Shelly because of her eviction, Portia because she had a real shot of winning, lost. Kalia had more win equity. It just kind of depends on how you view, compability. I would just think Portia would have a better shot, and then whoever, won would take Adam. So, this takes us to number 3. Any predictions? We're at the final 3, top 3 most robbed players. I think this next one is my favorite. It's the silliest. At number 3, I have Sharon. Now, again, I was not the most locked into Big Brother 9, but what the fuck was this? Sharon Obermuller. All right, so I assume a lot of you guys are not familiar with Sharon's game, and I'm with you. But I do know the circumstances of her eviction. So, Sharon is in the final 4. It's the HOH comp. And I think, in my opinion, this is the most clear case of Big Brother being rigged. Big Brother's not rigged. It's not. It really isn't. I was there for 79 days. It is the least rigged show. But if I watched this, I would think it was rigged. So in the final 4, it's an HOH comp. It's the classic step forward, true or false. Sharon is up 1 point with 1 question remaining. It's one of those 7 questions. Whoever has the most points wins. She's up 1 with 1 question left, meaning if she gets the last question right, she wins and it's over. The other person, who's in second, it's Ryan, has to say the opposite answer as her and get it right. It's the only way this goes to a tiebreaker. So, let's get to the final question. Is there still a pre-existing relationship in the house? Season 9, there were 2 pre-existing relationships. There was Sharon and Jacob and Ryan and Jen, I believe. Jacob's his name? 2 pairs. Now, of course, Jen was gone. Jacob was gone. So, the answer to this question, there's 2 existing pairs. 1 of each pair is gone. What do you guys think? Is there an existing pair remaining in the game? I'd run a poll in chat, but it's too much work. What do you guys think? No. You guys are saying no. And that's what Sharon said. And then Sharon won the HOH comp, ended up winning part 3 of the final HOH and won the game, 500K. It changed her life for the better. I don't know how she would have spent the money, but she probably would have spent it better than Adam. Well, that's one way this could have worked out. Instead, Sharon answers yes. Or actually, she answers no. There's not. And Ryan, Hail Mary, he knows if I answer the same as Sharon, I'm going to lose. So let me go ahead and throw in yes. It's the only way I have a chance. And then Julie sits there for like 2 fucking minutes. I'm sure there's rambling going on in the earpiece. They're sitting there. Goes, actually, the correct answer is yes, there is a remaining pair because of the fucking guinea pigs. The guinea pigs are a pre-existing relationship. There were guinea pigs that season. Hamsters. Whoops. Come on, Sharon. You should have thought about that. So, Ryan and Sharon end up tying in that HOH comp. It goes to a tiebreaker. Ryan wins the HOH. And the rest is history. Ryan wins HOH. Sharon's evicted at 4. And she would lose in 4th place. No prize money. Does anybody know Sharon's win equity going into the final 3? Does she have to win part 3 to win the game? Or is she in a good spot? Anyone know the lore? She had to win? Well, you put yourself in the final 3, you get rid of one of Adam or Ryan, you've got a really reasonable shot of winning the season. So, she was robbed a spot in the final 3, guaranteed, and is evicted that very round. So, this is a case of, I think, the most production interference. There's 2 options. Either it's production interference or the worst written question in reality TV history. I'm more inclined to believe it's the former. So Sharon was robbed of a 1 in 3 chance at 500K, and that's pretty bad. She did win a battle back, though. Sure. But, we live and learn. That takes us to number 2. Any predictions? Number 2, I hate to say it's not the most straightforward answer. Yeah, I was thinking Giesling of putting, Nick Uhas as one, but, I think that early in the game, there's so many ways to maneuver otherwise. I think Rockstar is more screwed at the final 10 than Nick is at the final 14. I see Kathy, I see Tommy, I see Helen. Well, at number 2, I have a list of 4 people, all to different degrees, the night 1 evictions. Jody, Cam, Glenn, and David. They're all robbed to different degrees. I think Jody, of course, is the most robbed. She's in this weird set of competitions where Dan just chooses to evict her. And I think if you simulate the season 10, 15 times, she's probably evicted in that first spot half the time, a little more than half. So that's pretty unlucky. Cameron had a bit more wiggle room, there was a vote at least, but it was still night 1. It was always going to happen. Cody won that first HOH. Paul's coming back in the house. Cameron's the type of person you should evict in that spot, so pretty robbed. Glenn, probably more screwed than Cameron, because Glenn seemed to have a decent positioning in the house with Paul and Victor, and I forget what their alliance is called. It was not just the Freakazoids. They had a bit of an alliance. And Glenn was eliminated purely based on competitions, which I think is perhaps more of the bullshit than a Cameron, for example. He just lost a comp. And then David, first of all, he's screwed by being on BB21. Jackson being camp director. There's a lot of parts of that are bullshit. But he, again, loses comps, which results in him being evicted. Maybe he's a little bit less screwed because he had a chance to win his way back. But, so did Cameron, I guess. But Cameron had a 5-step battle back he had to win, and David had to win a crapshoot, so. Of these 4 players, we have no idea how Jody would have done. None. Cameron, again, I think he had a lot of potential. He's just a fan of the show, and, it's a successful archetype usually. Glenn, he was well positioned, I suppose, for night 2, but what do you think? And then David, I think people during the season thought he had a lot of potential, but then he came back on 22 and maybe not. So, a bit of a weird situation between the 4 of them, but it's pretty bullshit. Number 1, I think is pretty obvious if you're a fan of me, but I'll let you guys make some predictions. And I don't have a long blurb for this because you could literally go week by week and describe how this is unfair. But the number 1 is Eric Stein. And I saw Giesling in the chat talking about Dustin. And yeah, you could say Dustin too. You could say Jessica. There's a whole list of people you can say were screwed by America's player. So many people's games ended as a result of this twist. But I think Eric is the best way to encapsulate all of these people's games ending. For anyone who doesn't know, I think it is pretty well known. Eric Stein in Big Brother 8 was chosen as America's player. And this was not like Team America type vibes. It wasn't just silly tasks you had to accomplish throughout the house. They were in control of some of his nominations, all of his votes. Eric was basically a stand-in for America's will and had to, navigate around the decisions that the public made. Of course, this resulted in America protecting Evil Dick and Danielle week after week, causing Eric to evict his allies week after week, most prominently Dustin, who, I will blame Dustin a little bit. Like, he volunteered himself to go on the block, basically. Eric kind of got him to volunteer, but Dustin did still say okay, which is like a sign of not a great player. But he was totally safe, if not for, America's player. So, Eric, despite all this, I think still gets 5th. Is it 5th or 6th? I think he gets 5th. And, clearly the best player of the season. The fact that he was able to make it as far as he did is a testament to how strong of a player he is. I think it's hard to imagine a version where he doesn't win the season, if not for America's player, but it existed. So I think Eric is clearly the most robbed player in Big Brother history because he's the best player who was impacted by a twist of this magnitude. He would have been a legendary winner. I have full faith he at the very least gets to the final 3, if not for the twist, and he likely wins. It's Zach's fault they could have gotten a Donato at a final 5, and Eric probably wins. If you guys want to have the Zach Serdzuski debate, I'm down, but amazing he never got another chance. As far as I understand, he was close a few times, but that's a bummer. Yeah, Jessica, you could also say, was as screwed as anybody. But I think Eric, just because of the quality of player, and ultimately, without America's player, Dustin doesn't win the season. Jessica doesn't win the season. I do believe Eric wins the season. So that's the list. We have Frankie at number 10. We all agree. Natalie, y'all hate me because of this pick, but I'll defend it. Big Brother 25, I'm very self-important. Howie, this was a good poll. Y'all are haters for this one. Rockstar, I think we all agree. Even if some of y'all don't think Rockstar is a great player, which that's fucked up. Jesse, I think we all agree. Shelly, Portia, Kalia, clearly robbed. Sharon, I think Sharon honestly might be the most robbed from all of this because it's just so blatant. America's player, at least Eric could try to figure something out. Sharon just was robbed of an HOH. No one disagrees with this. And then Eric, I think at 1 is just the correct answer. So that's the list. Any questions? Did I do a good job? Rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. I get the inclusion of Kathy. I think what factors into Kathy versus a Jesse for me is Kathy was a much worse player and didn't have a shot of winning, in my opinion. Good list, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. So that's part of it. I just think, I don't, whatever. 5 out of 10. All right, we'll take it. If you were named it Twist Fucked, I'd give you a high score. I led with it's not about robbed goddesses. That would be the best Big Brother losing games, which we could do one day, but I feel like it's kind of been talked to death. And my answer would be Tyler, BB20. If it was best losing games, it'd be Tyler, BB20, Vanessa, BB17, I mean, maybe Will BB7. Paul BB19. Like, it would just be like relitigating stuff we already know. There wouldn't be any big plot twists there. I'd be like, ooh, at number 6, I have Eric Stein. It'd be the same exact discussion. Yeah, so the MVP, I was considering Nick Uhas, but as I already mentioned, I think Nick just, like, it was the final 14, like, he could have figured something out. The vote flipped on him pretty last minute. So, like, MVP is definitely one of the worst twists of all time, but I don't think anyone individually was the most screwed by it. Level 6, voting for Tyler and jury tells you all you need to know. Yeah, I mean, the way you could look at that, though, is, like, obviously his own alliance is going to be privy to how good of a player he is. But if people outside of it don't know how good of a player he is, maybe that's a, failure in how he's framing himself. But, like, Fessy just voted for Casey because Casey beat him. Like, there's a lot of problems. I think the thing about Tyler that, like, you have to blame Tyler for this. He went into the Final Four with JC, Angela, and he went to the Final 6, let's say, with Sam, Brett, Angela, Casey, and JC, and he chose the worst people to go to the end with. Casey was, like, literally the worst option. Sam and Angela are the best. Angela's the best. Throwing the Final Four vetoes inexcusable. Like, there's endgame things where you could be like, this is really bad from Tyler. Same thing for Will in Big Brother 7. Will less so because there was the whole, like, not wanting to sleep with Janelle side of things. But it was still a bit of a clunky ending. What about the split house twist? I think split house, you still had some room to maneuver. But it was definitely tricky. Like, I think I was more screwed at the final 8 than, Joseph at the final 10. Dan threw part 3, and who cares? That was probably a good thing, right? Dan throwing part 3 was the right play, no? Because then Ian had to cut Danielle, and he was able to still get Danielle's vote. If he brings Danielle, doesn't he lose like 7-2, 8-1? He could have taken Danielle. He loses that easily, right? Am I crazy? No, I think Dan loses to Danielle. No fucking way. No, I don't think they respect. Yeah, I think he loses, but it's definitely a closer vote. I get that. But you have to understand, they weren't like, they were anti-Dan votes, not pro-Ian. They liked Ian, and maybe that's the difference between Ian and Dan. But I think his whole point was like, you throw the comp, Ian evicts Danielle, and then you get Danielle's vote, which is pretty good. Like, when you guys do the 4-3 vote, if Dan evicts Danielle, are you giving Dan Danielle's vote? Or, I guess, okay, if Dan evicts Ian, are you giving Dan Ian's vote? Is the question I meant to ask. I think there's a chance, because like, game respects game, Ian's a fan, but after what Dan was swearing on, and Ian is a bit of like he's an emotional guy, like, he's reactive. If that's one of the 3 votes you're giving him, like, that's even dicey. The point is, you could say it was a mistake, but I really don't think it's a $500,000 mistake. I think he loses either way. He would get Ian's vote. I think it's possible. But, Didn't Ian go 7 for 7 as well? Anyone remember? No, I'm talking about the part 3. Dan lost when Boogie left pre-jury. Yeah, I mean, that's generally what I think, but, look, if Dan gets to the end with Joe or Jen, is there a world? Not really. I think if he gets to the end with Danielle and loses, that's kind of tough. He was 6 for 7? Okay. Can we get some sort of Brant steal out of this? The most raw. I think it would not be interesting with this set of players. Like I'm looking at them like it would really just be us going through the motions. Like I don't really care to see like Shelly versus Sharon versus Glenn. Like you need to put your entire cast on. We'd still lose. I do think like BB25 is so funny because it might be like a very self-centered perspective of like, oh my god, we were all robbed. But like it really, there's so many ways people were screwed that season. Like the Suri and Jared's just this umbrella over the whole thing. But there's also like Jag coming back just ended so many people's games. Because like, here's the thing about Jag. We all have the chance to evict him the next week. So it's not that bad. But like, the double whammy of Zombie Week into Invisible HOH, double HOH veto, like that shit was crazy. Like everyone was like, oh no, it's a steamroll going into the final 9. And then they added 2 twists that made the steamroll certain. Like imagine this. Like, okay, Cory wins BB Comics somehow. America wins it miraculously. Like, somehow we beat Jag. And then there's 2 fucking vetoes. So then Jag would have 2 chances to win. He ends up winning 1. Like, I think there's a good chance America wins the veto or wins the HOH and Jag and Matt survive due to like no fault of our own. And then they're also guaranteed the next HOH because America always tells me like that Demented Dentist comp was total bullshit. Like it was so physical. For no reason either. Like the design of the comp was not meant to be physical. And that's what was frustrating about BB25. Like the comp design wasn't that physical. It was just they had like weird physical elements for no reason. Yeah, I agree, America. Imagine how Twitter would react if America won a comp. It would have been sad though, because America would have like popped off, put up Matt and Jag, and then they probably both would have survived. Like if she wins Demented Dentist at the final 7, puts up Matt and Jag wins the veto. Who the fuck is the replacement nom? I guess she puts up like Suri. I don't think she puts up Blue there. Maybe she does, but like I think any of them go home over Matt. If she wins final 8, she puts up, let's say, Matt and Jag. Jag and Blue win the veto. Are y'all convinced that both of them don't come off the block? Jag takes himself off, Blue takes Matt off? I'm not. And then the replacement noms who? Suri, Felicia? Like, what the fuck? That's the thing. Like, when you guys are like, oh my god, we just needed one America HOH. I think production, like, the way that season was designed, you needed America to win 2 or 3. Because y'all can't convince me that Blue doesn't take Matt off the block there. The only spot where that season could have changed was final 6. It's the only time. Because whenever Jag was able to save himself, Matt doesn't need to be saved. Matt would have the votes. The only time to get rid of one of them was Jag staying on the block. Because everyone was down to vote out Jag. And the only spot where Jag was vulnerable the entire back half of the game, final 9 he wins veto, final 8 he has HOH and veto, final 7 he has HOH and veto, final 6 he has nothing, final 5 he has veto, final 4 he has veto, final 3 he has HOH. The only spot where that could have changed was final 6. Would you have put up Matt and Jag at the final 8, or would you still keep targeting Blue? I think I would have put up Matt and Jag. I mean, America and I were talking about it, but I think there's a chance I put up Blue and Felicia after hearing about the double veto. I think there's a chance it would have been Blue and Felicia with the backdoor being Matt and Jag, Matt or Jag. But it would have been a tough spot. Like, the double veto makes that week impossible. Maybe America could have gone to Blue and said, if you take down Matt, I'll put up Suri. I mean, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting. I guess, why didn't anyone target Suri after she was introduced in the game late? Because she had 2 family members in the game, and she was safe week 1. There's a lot of reasons why Suri wasn't targeted. Like, I don't think that's the case. BTP is the pig or whatever. Or how do I say your name? BT Piztheg? Piztheg? I feel like I've seen you in chat for a while. I should know how to pronounce your name. Like, y'all say Suri would talk to Blue and figure it out, but Suri was not effective at getting shit through to Blue's head. I don't think that's Suri's fault, to be clear. I think that's more on Blue. But acting like Suri could have just convinced Blue to do anything. Like, I think Blue was more beholden to Jag and Matt than Suri. And I get some stuff on the feeds pushes against that, but I saw the actions. Like, can you admit Brian Heidick's the best Survivor player ever? Definitely not. He's a very dislikable person. But he had a dominant win. Would you consider Jason Roy robbed in OTT? No. It's just a stupid-ass format. Like, you know. Like, he played well, but, like, no one was robbed in BB1. BTP is the G. BTP is the G. Okay, I see that, actually. The is the. I should have been able to put that together. I'm telling you, like, there's part of me that is grateful that Matt and Jag just ran the table at the end. And Bowie, like, because it lets you guys have the, like, delusions, the fantasies of, like, oh, if only Suri won HOH and put up Matt and Jag, or Felicia would have been the worst. The clips I see from Felicia would have put up fucking America and Bowie. Like, that's the delusional one. And I know you always say, like, oh, Suri would have gotten to her. I think Felicia would have been a terrible HOH to win. Felicia had no chance in the final two. She had the least chance jury-wise of anybody. I don't know how America does in certain matchups, but I think Felicia does worse. Because Felicia's never getting Cameron. She's never getting me. I don't think she's ever really getting Jag. She's never getting Bowie. She's never getting America. Like, she could maybe get Suri and Matt, but I think that's pretty unlikely too. My goat Suri never loses if not for inequitable comps. I think Suri, in terms of, like, the type of player she is, always loses in 5th, 4th, or 3rd. I mean, she could have won with, like, Jared and Izzy, maybe. But, like, equitable comps or inequitable, like, even, like, a normal set of comps, BB26 comps, she still loses every comp at the end. Like, there's two parts of it. There's, like, being bad at comps. Like, Felicia is not bad at comps. Felicia just has no chance because of inequitable comps. Suri, I think, has both, unfortunately. I think people just looked at Felicia, like, they zoomed out and were like, oh, Felicia has such a good story and people respect her because she's, like, was well liked in the house. She's awesome. She's very lovable. But no one had any respect for Felicia's game. Like, Cedric had potential. He has a lot of the tools. He just needed more game knowledge. If not for the Jag return, I think she has more of a chance. Yeah, but you could almost put the Jag return on her, right? But I think if Jag returns, she has a much better chance for sure. Because then Matt has nowhere to go, and I don't have the ability to really make a move. I would have had to go all in on Cameron, and that was never really going to happen. What about Bowie? What about Bowie? If Cam didn't come back and get out Mimi, we probably could have maybe got Cam, Jag, and Matt all out before Final 2. I disagree. I was thinking about this today. If Cam doesn't come back, we're just at the Final 9 like normal. Matt wins that HOH, unless you're saying we skip the Final 10 HOH and go straight to the Final 9 HOH, which Bowie wins. No, I think Mimi goes no matter what at the Final 9, depending on if Bowie won HOH or Matt or Jag won HOH. Because those were the people who were in the Final 10 and 9 HOH. I think Bowie targets Mimi before me. Jag targets Mimi before me. Matt probably targets me before Mimi. But even then, Matt did not like Mimi. So, like, I could see even Matt targeting Mimi. Like, Mimi was kind of screwed. I was thinking about this today. Don't out me like that. Let me just ramble. Plus, Suri got screwed with your cast. You want to rephrase that sentence? She got screwed with our cast? Mimi's in the comp, now you don't. Yeah, that's fair. If Mimi's playing in the final 9 quiz comp, she could win. That's true. That's possible. I think it's unlikely. Like, she'd have to go 7 for 7 and win the tiebreaker, but she would have won the tiebreaker. I'll give her that. She also stood no chance because she wasn't studying for that comp because she was on the block. So. Oh, struggling with me being cast? Yeah, that was not bad luck for Suri. That should have been good luck for Suri. And it was for a while until, you know, her son screwed everything up. My favorite BB twist? It depends what you qualify as a twist. Like if you count the veto or double eviction as a twist, like that's... I liked safety chain as a twist in Canada. Bowie Felicia would have been a final 2 for the ages. I think Bowie wins like 5-2. I think Felicia maybe gets Surrey and Blue, and that's it. Like, that's the thing. Like, as much as Bowie screwed up by targeting America, if Bowie gets the final 4 or final 2 with Felicia, who's still there, she still wins. But she never even wanted to do that, so. Coming with Zach as the 18th house guest. God, that would be so bad. Playing as a duo from the start. Like, it's a huge advantage, but, like, if people know about the duo, it's like, well, one of you's fucked. Any final questions before I head out? Chill for 10 minutes, then film the podcast? What week do you start to pick America in a hypothetical safety chain? I think very early. I think the way the safety chain would have worked in BB25 is like Suri, Jared, and Izzy, they all would have picked each other, and by the time I was picked, there'd only be like 1 or 2 people left. If I got like first pick or something, that would be kind of awkward. It'd probably be like until like week 4. Before that, I would probably pick like Jared or something. Where is your girlfriend? Is she with you? She's in the other room. If you could pick a different season to be on, what would it be? Season 17. I think it was that season is like my speed of the chaoticness all the time. Compare your game to Quinn's. I think Quinn is naturally a lot more social than me, and like 99% of the time will have a better social game than me. But I think he was on a season where his gameplay was way too fast. And on my season, the speed of gameplay was better. I think I have a more level head strategically, but he's like inherently better socially. And usually I'd prefer social to strategic, but maybe you say the gap strategically is big enough. And it's not like I was terrible. Like, I think, obviously, people have criticized Quinn's strategic game a lot. I don't think my social game was that bad. Like, it was probably about average. Which you could say his strategic game might have been worse than that. But even still, on BB26, I think he probably had the 3rd or 4th best strategic game. TBH. I'm with you, Zero, trust me. Is he higher upside overall? I don't think... I think it's hard to make that argument with, like, what we did on our seasons. But, like, the main argument you can make for Quinn is he has an outwardly better social game. Which even then, like, I think the way my personality works is, like, I probably am less likely to have people hate me, but less likely to have people love me. And he's much better comp-wise, but I just don't think there's any evidence to say he's much better comp-wise. Like, gun to my head, I think he is just better, but, like, based on what we did, it's kind of hard to make that case. Like, we both won 1 comp. He won the power comp, which is 1-on-1 against Leah, I suppose, but, like, I don't care about that, really. Good, Whittingham. Quinn did, like, really well on the wall, though. He's very good there. I told you I view top 30. I think that's a very difficult case to make, Giesling, but I appreciate it. I think I'm pretty clearly like somewhere from like 50 to 80, something like that. First time ever tuning in live. What's up? The only real sweater man. I'm glad. There's a lot of fake sweater men in my chat. Am I the only one who thinks it's a 7-person jury season? It feels like a long ass season. I like the 7-person jury. I did not think it felt stupid on BB 26. On BB 25, it was stupid because it took so long to get the jury. Your reads on people were better than Quinn, even though more people liked him. I don't think Quinn's reads were wrong. I think Quinn just like his game exploded a lot faster than mine, and he was always playing from the bottom, where I was playing from a position of power for like more time. Like I was playing from a position of power like weeks 2, 3, 6, 7, a little bit of 8. Like I had like more times where I was in a good spot. Whereas Quinn, like after Tucker blew all the shit up, it was just hard to get back to a neutral standing point. And also, I will say, like, I think my cast was harder than Quinn's, but I would do terrible on BB26. Like, I think I'd be okay, probably. Hopefully, I would change up my game to the house, but, like, that house was so slow and boring, and no one was talking game. Like, I would have gone crazy if I was Quinn. Do you think you go further if you don't have that argument with Jared? No. I don't think that mattered. The fact that I survived the next week, Cameron got evicted, I think made it clear that fight did like nothing bad to me. Like, was there a way to do like? Here's my thing. I don't think there was a way to execute the Izzy flip without them being pissed at me, because they trusted me so much more than they did Jack or America or Bowie or even Mimi. Like Izzy and Jared and Suri, like they were targeting me to different degrees. But I think they were like felt betrayed by me because of my relationship with them the entire game in a way that the other people didn't. Possible ban evader monitoring. Shut up, Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, Giesling, those were genuine. Like, it wasn't like it was some long con. Like, I did bond with Izzy better than everyone else in the house, basically, except America. Maybe Jag in moments. I agree with you, Garrett, but I feel like I'm a hater whenever I say it. Yeah, I think you're right, chaotic. I think I would have. Again, like I don't know, like if it's the only time I'd play Big Brother, so maybe I would just adapt to the house and be whatever. But I feel like I'm a game talker. There's also the other perspective you could look at where it's like Chelsea had such an advantage on 26 because she did actively talk game, and like there was no one who could organize against her because no one else talked game. It's like maybe I'm able to do that, but still. Do you talk to Jared, or is the relationship with Jared ruined for good? It's not ruined for good. Jared's fine. I don't talk to Jared. Like, I think there's people on my cast I dislike a lot more than him. I think we'll always have chemistry. We'll always get along, but, like, I don't... Like, we're not friends. Like, we don't talk. But, I mean, if we, like... You know, if we saw each other at an event, it'd be fine. There's no beef there. Does anyone talk to Luke? I don't think anyone's talked to Luke since Red hit up Luke on Instagram Live. I'm not going to be a feature on the next Pooh Hunnit song. I want to be a guest on Mother Knows Best, or does she? That's what I want. 27 happened to be returning out of 23, 26. Do you think you have a chance of them picking you? I don't think so. I think, like, I'm one of those people who's, like, on the cusp, I suppose. But, like, I just think they'd go with Quinn before me. That's my instinct. And I don't think that's, like, a bad call. Like, if you want to argue I'm the better player, I would probably agree with that. I think Quinn is a great character. I think he's got a bigger role on the show than me. I think you could definitely argue, is more memorable because of his role on the season. Not necessarily to the Life Eaters, I guess, but I think, like, he had a more pronounced role on BB26, the show, than I did on BB25, the show. And I think they love Quinn, which is fair. So that would be my instinct. I don't think the top 3 AFP plays a role, really, to be honest. That's not the reason. They could bring back the Tucker Quinn rivalry. Oh my god, that's one thing I don't want them to do. like I planning on doing a watch along with Survivor Australia versus the world. When does it start? Is it pretty soon? July? Okay. Maybe. I'll definitely watch it, so. Anyways, I'm gonna go so I can rest my voice a little bit before podcasting. Um, because I'm just sick and I should not be talking this much. But fun little stream, a little bit of a top 10 into yapping, my favorite. It's unlikely I'll be on Survivor 50, right? The cruise is in June, I believe. So appreciate you guys. Is anybody live right now? Any of the friends? I'm not sure, Giesling. I'm gonna figure it out.